If I woke up tomorrow and I had to lose 20 kilos, I wouldn't completely eliminate carbohydrates, train 6 days a week, and try to walk the circumference of fucking the United Kingdom. And I definitely wouldn't sign up to 75 Hard just because some bold bloke shouted the word discipline into a podcast mic while sitting in his ice bath.
Holy fuck.
I'd follow 5 simple stages. They're based on what I used to transform my own body, the mistakes I made along the way, and how I help men now do the same thing. Because I believe aggressive dieting works. It gets you results quickly, gives you momentum, and you don't have to spend the next 9 months losing a bit of fat each week. But there's a massive difference between aggressive dieting and reckless dieting. Aggressive dieting is putting your foot down on the throttle, but you have a clear path ahead of you. Reckless dieting is blindfolding yourself, removing the brakes, and swerving around the corner at 110 miles per hour straight into a tree. Anyways, let's start with the 5 stages. So the first stage I would begin with is facing reality and setting a target. That does mean taking some uncomfortable photos of yourself. From the front, from the side, from behind. They're not fucking flattering. I actually, quite frankly, find them disgusting. But that's a good thing, because the hate that you feel towards your current body is going to drive you to becoming a better version of yourself. I'd also record my body weight, some measurements maybe around my waist, hips, biceps and chest. You just cannot create an accurate route if you don't know your starting point. I'd then move on to my first destination. The exciting stuff. Now, I'm not talking about that fantasy 6% body fat, never touching a Chinese meal again and thinking I'm some sort of fucking hybrid rock star. If I had to lose 20 kilos, my first target would be 5. Break it down into bite-sized, manageable chunks. Going face on with 20 kilos is just a bit fucking daunting. That's a lot of weight. You'd have a smaller waist by then, your face would look less puffy, and you'd visibly see a difference in the mirror and on the scales. That is motivating. That is what's going to give you momentum in the future. You don't need veins across your abs to have succeeded. You just need something that's realistic for you whilst also challenging yourself. A goal that you can hit while still keeping the will to live. Stage 2 would be building my aggressive fat loss phase. I personally quite enjoy aggressive dieting. I know that I've got a clear deadline. I can see results quickly. And I know it's not going to last forever, because when I see my weight dropping, my face getting slimmer, my abs getting more visible, I'm going to keep going no matter how hard it is. I keep going on about how this is supposed to be hard and aggressive, but like I said, this shouldn't be reckless. I'd give this phase a clear beginning and end. Get in, get out. I'd make sure I was eating enough protein, training intelligently, and trying to get as much sleep as humanly possible. If I had the full 20 kilos to lose, I wouldn't necessarily lose it all in one big chunk. I would aim to lose 10% of my body weight the first time round, at a 1% body weight lost a week. So if you're 100 kilos, this would look like 10 weeks of dieting to lose 10 kilos. And then go to a 2 to 6 week maintenance phase until your hunger is reset a little bit and you're feeling ready to go back into another diet phase. And then I'd try and go for 10% again and repeat that cycle until you get to where you want to be. Once I'd mapped out the phase, I'd figure out the numbers. I'd use an online TDEE calculator to discover my total daily energy expenditure. I'd then aim to eat around 700 to 1,000 calories less than that number daily. Surprise, surprise, that's not a lot of calories, especially if you're someone who has an office job and just doesn't move that much. You could be on 12 to 1400 calories a day. This would just give me a starting point and I can adjust from there onwards. If it's too aggressive, I'll just bring my calories up. If it's not aggressive enough, I'll just bring my calories down. Now, if these numbers scare you, that's kind of the idea. This is aggressive. It's not supposed to last forever. You're gonna go to bed hungry some nights. But it fucking works, provided you can stick to it for long enough. Because a 1,000 calorie deficit is completely fucking useless if you only stick to it for 3 days. For protein, I'd set this around 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilo of body weight. So for myself, I currently weigh around 80 kilos. I would aim between 140 and 160 grams of protein. That's going to be plenty. Now, stage 3 would be training to protect or build my muscle. If you're new to this, you can 100% build muscle in a diet phase. Even if you're intermediate, you can build muscle in a diet phase. Just because you are not getting as much calories doesn't mean you are not forcing your body to adapt, i.e. build muscle. I don't have time to go to the gym 4, 5 or even 6 days a week like some people you might watch on YouTube. I'm quite busy, so 3 days a week before the family wake up, Monday, Wednesday and Friday, works absolutely perfect for me. And I can still build muscle doing this. I'd probably go for a 3 full day body split or an upper lower full body. Each session would contain around 6 exercises with around 2 sets each, training to failure on each and every single one of them. Now I would track these workouts and lifts that I'm doing and the amount of weight I'm actually moving. As long as you track the weights you are lifting, then you can see what you lifted the last week. And you can try and improve on that, because if you do improve on that, that means you force your muscles to grow, which is what we want. We don't want to lose 20 kilos just to reveal an absolute fucking pencil frame sitting underneath it, because our insecurities will go from being fat to being too skinny. And from my experience, building muscle is a hell of a lot harder and it takes longer than losing fat. Now, I would be an absolute fucking donkey if I didn't shout out my one-to-one coaching at some point during this video. So if you're interested in being coached by me and you find this information valuable, there will be a link in either the description or the comments to message me on WhatsApp. No stress if you don't want to, but if you find I'm not an insufferable prick like the rest of the gym influencers on this app, then it might be worth a message. Now moving on to stage 4. This is all about increasing my activity intelligently, not ramming 18k steps and half marathons as soon as I start my diet. I track my average steps for a normal week, and then I'd add, like I said earlier, 2,000 to 4,000 above this. Now this isn't for everyone, but once my steps are established and I'm wanting to see even more rapid fat loss, I might introduce 2 to 3 cardio sessions a week. This could be incline walking, the rowing machine, the Stairmaster if you hate yourself, or the elliptical. Most people take the opposite approach to this. As soon as they fucking start their diet, they're shoving down chicken salads and avocado on toast and starting to run half marathons and 5Ks daily. No wonder they get shin splints and just quit. You don't receive any bonus points from hating every single second of this. Now on to stage 5. This is the one that I always got wrong in the past. I'd plan my exit before I'd even started. Losing fat and staying lean are 2 completely different things. Losing fat is just the beginning. Where do you go once that's been accomplished? You can't finish an aggressive diet and then go straight back to your old habits, because where do you think you're going to end up? Trust me, I've found out the hard way and I'm afraid to admit it multiple times. I've lost the weight, I've put it all back on. I've lost the weight, I've put it all back on. I reached the finish line and then thought it gave me permission to eat like a fucking pig. So I planned how to lose the weight, but I hadn't planned what to do after I'd lost it all. So before finishing a diet, I'd estimate what my reverse diet calories would be. I'd also have my next goal in mind. Where do I want to get to? What's a weight where I want to be, where I know I would have packed on a lot of muscle, and then maybe I can have a few tidy up phases here and there. But calling something a lean bulk doesn't magically make 6 donuts anabolic. That's like calling a kebab a salad because there's loads of lettuce trapped underneath it. The goal would still need structure, monitoring, and accountability to hold you to it. Getting lean is the starting point. It's a project, it's a temporary phase. Staying lean is the longer term vision. Confusing the two is how you end up setting yourself new targets each and every New Year's Day. So to wrap things up, if I had 20 kilos to lose again, I'd do these 5 things. I'd face reality even if it was uncomfortable and set a target. I'd map out the aggressive diet phase with an exit date. I'd establish my numbers, calories, protein, all of that good stuff. I'd lift weights 3 times a week and establish a fundamental standard of daily activity. And before losing my final kilo, I'd know exactly what came after it. If you want me to calculate your numbers, structure your training, and build the entire approach around your life, there's a link below to inquire about working with me one-to-one. And don't forget to subscribe if you like fitness style content that doesn't require you to live in the gym or eat like a rabbit for the rest of your life. Talk soon.